In this video, we are going to continue with Mathematics Paper 1 for the year 2017. This paper was written by the GCE candidates. Now we'll consider this video as part 2, where we are beginning from question 10a. A soccer match kicked off at 14 hours so we have been given the position of A, 20 degrees north, 30 degrees east. What would be the kickoff time of the soccer match at B, that is located on the same latitude but different longitude? So let's see if we can draw a diagram. So let's draw the Earth. So under the Earth, we know we have the north here, south, west, and east here. Then we have the point, the origin. Now let us show the position for A. So for A, we can see that we have 20 degrees north, 30 degrees east. So the first number here, this indicates the latitude, while the other one indicates the longitude. So the point A is located on latitude 20 degrees north. So this latitude will be located above the equator, so somewhere here. Then we also have 30 degrees east. So this will be located, this longitude will be located east of the prime meridian, so it will be somewhere here. So the point where these two lines are meeting is where point A is. Now let's move on to point B. So point B is on latitude 20 degrees north, 15 degrees west. Now the latitude, we have already drawn the latitude, so we are not going to draw the second one. So we just use the same 20 degrees north. So the remaining part here, we just have to draw the longitude for point B. So this longitude is located west of prime meridian, so this line will be somewhere here. So the point where the 20 degrees north and 15 degrees west is meeting is where our point B is located. Now after we have this picture, now let's go back to the question. So a soccer match kicked off at 14 hours at point A. So at point A, the time is 14 hours. So we are finding the time at B. So the first step that we are supposed to do, we need to find the difference in longitude between the 2 points. So point A, we can see that is located on the east side, while point B is on the west side. So whenever we have west and east, we are supposed to add. So it's 30 plus 15. Then this will give us 45. So 45 degrees is the difference in longitude. So then the other thing is we need to convert this 45 degrees into hours. So whenever you are trying to convert into hours, you just divide the difference by 15. So this will be 45 over 15. So we know that 45 into 15 is just 3 hours. So the difference in terms of hours between the 2 points A and B was 3 hours. Now we can see that we have the time ahead of time B. We have been given the time for A. So for us to find the time for B, if we are moving in this direction, you need to subtract the difference in hours from the time that you are given. So the time that we are given is 14 hours. Then we need to subtract 3 hours. So here we going to get 0. So 4 minus 3 is just 1. So the time at B is 11 hours. Now, the conversion of degrees into hours can also be shown as, we know that 1 hour is equal to 15 degrees. So let's look at how many degrees do we have. So this is 45. So the 45 will be written here. Then we put x, then we cross multiply. So 15 degrees times x is 15 degrees x. Then 1 hour times 45 degrees is just 45 degrees hour. We divide by 15 degrees, also by 15 degrees. So if we cancel, x will give us 3 hours. So it's the same. So the key point is here, if you are converting from degrees into hours, you just divide by 15 degrees. Okay, so now we move on to question B. Two towns P and Q are on the same longitude. Given that P is 40 degrees north, 15 degrees west, and PQ is 7,200 nautical miles, find the position of Q. So let's again draw. So we have the north, west, then you have east here, south. Now let's look at the latitude. So the latitude is 40 degrees north. So this line will be above the equator somewhere here. So this is our point 40 degrees north. Then we also have the longitude located on the west side, so we'll have it here. So this is where our point B is. Now the question is, we want to find the position of Q. So for us to find the position of Q, first we need to find the difference in the latitude. So since we have been given the distance, the formula that we can use, we use distance is equal to theta times the 60. So that is the formula that we are going to use here. Then the distance, we substitute the distance given is 7,600 nautical miles. Then 60 times theta is just the 60 theta. So in this point, we are solving for theta. Why? The theta indicates the distance, I mean the difference in latitude. Since the 2 points are on the same longitude, so the difference that we are solving here, it is the difference in latitude. So let's divide by 60 here. Even here we divide by 60. So we have the theta is equal to, we cancel this, we cancel this. So what is the 6 into 720? So say 6 here is 1. 6 into 7 will give us 1, remainder 1. 6 into 12, that is 2. 6 into 0. So 6 into 720 is 120. So this 120 is now the difference in latitude. What latitude? The latitude, we have been given one latitude, which is 40 degrees north. So we are trying to find the other latitude. So we know that for us to get this value of 120, they are added the 2 latitudes. So with the latitude that we are looking for is somewhere here. So we want the position for Q. So this is where our position Q is. So now this 120 will subtract 40 from 120, so that this will give us 120 minus 40 is just 80 degrees where south. So this is the position of point Q. So that if we are trying to find the difference in latitude between P and Q, we just say difference. The latitude for P is 40 degrees north, plus the latitude for Q is 80 degrees north. So if we add 80 and 40 will give us the 120 that we calculated from the distance given. So this is what the question is. So the difference between the two was 120. So for us to find now the missing latitude, you subtract the given latitude, which is 40 degrees, from the 120. So the answer here is 80 degrees south. So we move on to question 11. A die and a coin are rolled and tossed respectively. What is the probability of getting a 5 and a tail? So the key point is, what are we supposed to do? What rule are we supposed to apply if you have been given the word and? So here we are going to say probability of a 5 and a tail. So whenever we have the and, we are going to use the addition rule. So it's the probability of picking a 5, and sorry, not addition but multiplication, times the probability of picking a tail or getting a tail. Now let's look at what is the probability of picking a 5. So the dice has every chance of the dice is always 1 over 6. The probability of picking, of getting 1 from a dice is 1 over 6. Even 2 is 1 over 6. Any number from the dice is always 1 over 6. So this is what we are going to put. It's 1 over 6 multiplied by. Then from the coin, we only have 2 probabilities. There is the probability of picking or showing a tail and a head. So with the coin is always 1 over 2. So it is 1 over 6 times 1 over 2, which is giving us 1 times 1 is 1. 6 times 2 will give us 12 as our final answer. So remember, the multiplication rule has the word and. Okay, so now we move on to question 11b. Given that x is equal to 3.2 times 3 raised to the power 4 and y is equal to 4 times 3 raised to the power 2, evaluate x divided by y. So we are trying to divide x with y. So what we are going to do is, where there is x here, we are going to substitute with this. So we have 3.2 times 3 to the power 4 over, where is y here, we substitute with this. So we have 4 times 3 raised to the power 2. Now there are so many ways in which you can simplify a question like this one. Now let's first expand. So 3.2 times here, since we have 3 raised to the power 4, this means that we are going to multiply 3 times 3 4 times over 4 times 3 raised to the power 2. We just multiply 3 times 3. So we expand. Then we can now first begin by, we cancel these 2 here, we cancel that. Then from there we have 3.2 times 3 times 3, we get a 9 over here we just have 4. Now from there, there are so many ways in which you can find the final answer. If you want, you can divide 4 into 9 or 4 into 3.2, but let's divide 4 into 3.2. So this can be broken as 3.2 over 4 times 9. So we know if we are trying to simplify this one, so there is only one decimal place here, we multiply by 10, also here by 10. So 3.2 times 10 is 32 over 4 times 10, we have 40, then times 9. So let's simplify this part. Then we can see that we have 4 is common. 4 into 32 will give us 8 over 4 into 40 will give us 10. So I'm just reducing. Then what number can we reduce? So we have 2. 2 into 8 is 4 over 2 into 10 will give us 5 times 9. So we can see that now 5 into 40, it can't, so write 0. Then we immediately put a decimal, we add a 0 here. 5 into 40 is 8. So 5 into 4 is 0.8 times 9. Now let's multiply. What is 0.8 times 9? So let's first ignore the decimal. Let's just get the numbers. What is 8 times 9? So if we have, let's say 8 times 80 is equal to 64 plus another 8, so 64 plus another 80, we can see that we are getting 72. Now 72, we look at how many decimal places do we have from 0.8 is just 1. So we put this is our final answer. Now we move on to question 12. In the diagram below, points A, B, C and D are on the circle. BD is the diameter of the circle. Angle ACB is equal to 42 degrees and CAD is equal to 33 degrees, and the line ACE and BD intersect at X. Okay, so we will have this point. Whenever you have a diameter, this means that the circle is divided into two semicircles. So this is our BD. So this means that we have, this is our semicircle, even this is our semicircle. Why do we say that? Because this point will be used to find certain angles. Now let's look at the first question. The first question is we want angle CBD. So the angle that we are solving is CBD. So this angle is what we want. Now how can we find this angle? And just a reminder, for this topic to make sense, make sure you mastered the properties that are associated with the circle geometry. Now for us maybe to understand it, we are solving for this angle here. So you can see that this is beginning at T, C, even here at D. Now let's look at this point here, the one in red. So we can see that they are originating at the same position at D and C. So what this means is this angle here is equal to this angle here, and this property is what we call angles in a same segment are equal. So even here we have 33 degrees. So this is the answer at this point number 1. Now let's look at for ACD. So for ACD, ACD, so this angle here is what we are looking for. Now what can we do here? So let's look at the diameter. So this is the diameter here, and if you look at this part that I've drawn, this angle here is always equal to 90 as long as you have a semicircle. Since we have the diameter, which is BD, and it is dividing the circle into two halves, then this angle is equal to 90 degrees. Now if that angle is equal to 90 degrees, we can see that this angle plus this angle must add up to 90. So we can find now our answer by adding. So we'll say angle ACD, the angle that we are solving, plus the 42 degrees must add up to 90, since angles in the same circle adds up to 90 degrees. Then we can shift this one to the other side. So we have ACD is equal to 90 minus 42. So if we subtract 90 minus 42, we get 48. So how you do, you can just write the 90, then minus 42. So 0 minus 2, it can't, so we get 1 from 9, we put it here. So 10 minus 2, we have 8 here, then here we also have 8. So 8 minus 4 is 48. So this is our final answer for this point here. So we have this 48 angle. So what else can we see? We can this 48 can also be used as angles in the same segment to find the angle DBA or ABD. So I'm saying this angle here is equal to this angle here. So this angle is equal to this angle. Since we can see these two are originating at the same position here. So we can say angles in the same segment are equal. So here we are going to have 48. Now for us to find the AXB, let's look at this angle AXB. So we are solving for this angle. Now we can see that this is a triangle. We have a triangle here, and we know that a triangle adds up to 180. So if we can find this angle here, so this angle here plus this angle minus 180, we can now get the angle of interest. So let's do that. So how can we find this angle here? Remember, we said BD is the diameter. If this is the diameter, then we have this part where we can apply angles in a semicircle adds up to 90. So here we have an angle of 90. So if that is an angle of 90, what angle is here? So that if we add this angle plus 33 will give us the 90. So we'll say we'll just subtract 33 from 90. So if we get 1 from 9, we have 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. Then here we have 8. 8 minus 3 is 5. So here we have 57. So if we are to remove this triangle, it is like this. So here we have 57. Then we can just put x there. Then here we have 48. So we can now find the angle x. So we know that if we add 57 plus 48 minus from 180, we have this angle AXB. So let us show our workings here. So this will be x plus 57 plus 48, is equal to 180. So if we add 57 plus 48 will give us 105. So you just say 57 here plus 48. So 7 plus 8 is 15. We keep the 1. 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 1 is 105. So the 57 and 48 will give us 105, which is equal to 180. Then we shift this number to this side. X is equal to 180 minus 105. Then our final answer, 180 minus 105 is 75. So this is our answer here. We move on to question 13, where we are dealing with functions. So the functions g and f are defined as gx is equal to x minus 1 over 2 and f of x is equal to 3x minus 5. Find the inverse of the g function. So let us write the original function for g. So this will be g of x is equal to x minus 1 over 2. So the first step is where there is g of x, we replace with y is equal to x minus 1 over 2. Then our second step is we need to make x the subject of formula. So how can we isolate x? We can first get rid of the fraction. We say over 1 so that we cross multiply. We know that 1 will multiply with x minus 1, giving us x minus 1. Then if we multiply 2 times y here, we have 2y. Then the last step is we need to shift 1 to the other side, giving us x is equal to 2y plus 1. We know that the negative 1 will change to positive 1. Then after we are done making x the subject of the formula, we substitute with this symbol for the inverse, so which is g of inverse of x is equal to 2, where there is y, we replace back with x, so becomes 2x plus 1. Then the other way you can get rid of the fraction, if you don't want to cross multiply, you can just say y is equal to x minus 1 over 2. So you can just multiply everything by this number here, which is 2. So the 2 multiply with y, giving us 2y is equal to, if we multiply 2 with this, the 2 will cancel this 2 and this 2 will cancel, giving us x minus 1. So if we shift 1 to this side, we are going to get 2y plus 1, giving us x. Then our final answer, we have now g of inverse of x is equal to 2x plus 1. So you can simplify it like this. Now let's look at question B. Question B, we are trying to find the value of x. Given that the f of x function is equal to the g of x function. So let us write the formula given. So the equation is f of x is equal to g of x. So where there is f of x, we replace with this function. So the function for f of x is 3x minus 5. Then the function for g of x is x minus 1 over 2. So we can get rid of the fraction, so we cross multiply. So this means that the 2 will multiply with 3x minus 5, then the 1 will multiply with x minus 1. So 2 times 3x is 6x minus 2 times 5 will give us 10. Then 1 times x is x, 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Then we can collect the like terms, so the x will come here, then negative 10 will shift to this side, giving us 6x minus x. Then we have negative 1. This negative 10 will change to positive 10. So 6x minus x is just 5x. Then minus 1 plus 10 will give us 9. We divide by 5, also by 5. Therefore, x is equal to 9 over 5, or 5 into 9 is 1, remainder 4 over 5. Then we can also simplify it like the way we did with the previous example. If we don't want to cross multiply, we can use, we know for f of x is 3x minus 5 is equal to x minus 1 over 2. So we can now multiply by the 2. So these 2 will multiply with x, 3x minus 5. So 2 times 3x will give us 6x. Then 2 times negative 5 will give us negative 10. Then 2 times this party here, the 2 will cancel, leaving us x minus 1. Then from there we can collect the like terms. So negative 10 will move to this side. Then our positive x will move to this side. So this will give us 6x minus x is equal to negative 1 plus 10. 6x minus x will give us 5x. Minus 1 plus 10 will give us 9. So over 5 over 5. So x is equal to 9 over 5, or 1 remainder 4 over 5. Now let's move on to question C. So here we are trying to find out the composite. So we have two functions. There is this inverse and the original f of x. So according to the given information, the outside function is the function for the inverse of g. Then the inside function will be the original f of x. So what is our g of inverse of function? We found this one. So we are going to use that one. So it is 2x plus 1. Now the inside function, which is f of x, this one, must be substituted with the x of the g of inverse of x. So we have 2, where there is x, we substitute with the inside function, 3x minus 5 plus 1. Then we know that our 2 will multiply with the 3x. Then our 2 will also multiply by negative 5. So if we multiply 2 times 3x, we get 6x minus 2 times 5, we get negative 10 plus 1. Then our final answer is 6x minus 9. Okay, so now we move on to question 14. The table below shows the relationship between two variables, x and y. Now it is given that y varies inversely as the square root of x, where x is positive. Then we have these values here. Now the first question, we want to write an expression for y in terms of x and the constant k. So we'll begin with the first letter. It is given that y, you write y varies, then there is this inversely, you write it as a fraction. So inversely as the square root. So if they say the square root of x, then the variable x should be under the root. So this is how you write the square root of x. If the question was the square of x, if it was the square, then we would have written it as x squared. So then from there we Now change this sign into equal sign, then we introduce the k. Where there is 1 here, we put k, so k over the square root of x. So this is our equation. Okay, so now we move on to B, Roman number 1. We want to find the value of k. So the equation is y is equal to k over the square root of x. So from this table we can use these or these. The answer will give us the same. So let's use these. So if we use this, the value of y is 2, the value of x is 16. So where there is y, we put 2 is equal to k over, then x is 16 over 1, we cross multiply. So 1 times k will just give us k, then 2 times the square root of 16 is positive or negative 4. Now from the question, we are given where x is positive, so we only need the positive part, so it's 4. So 4 times 2 will give us 8 as the value of k. Let's also solve the value of k if we want to use these numbers. So we know that y is equal to k over the square root of x. So this time value of y is 8 is equal to k over the root, value of x is 1 over 1, we cross multiply. So 1 times k is k, then 8 times the square root of 1 is positive or negative, so we just want a positive number, which is 1, and we know that 8 times 1 will give us 8. Now we can move on to question Roman number 2, where we want to find the value of a. So let's look at the formula. So y is equal to k over the square root of x. Now we can see that the a represents the value of x, then the 8 over 9 represents the value of y. So let's do the substitution. So y is this number, so it's 8 over 9 is equal to, what's our k? K is 8 over the square root of a. Then we can cross multiply. So 1 times the square root of a, 8 times the square root of a is 8 square root of a. Then here you don't multiply, you just leave the numbers the way they are. So you just say 80 times 9. Why? So that if I divide with 80, even here with 80, I can see that the 8 will cancel. So no need of multiplying 80 times 9 to give you 72. Then if we cancel, we know that we have the square root of a is equal to 9. Now how can we get rid of the square root? So we need to square both sides. So we square this side, so is the other side. So we cancel the 2 and the square root. A is equal to 9 squared is 81. We move on to question 15. A phone manufacturing company paid a total dividend of 12,600 kwacha at the end of 2015 on 6,000 shares. If Magula owned 200 shares in the company, how much was paid out in dividends to her? So let's look at the total dividends. So the amount paid to these 6,000 shares was 12,600. So this 12,600 was shared among the 6,000 shares. Then from these 6,000 shares, Magula had 200 shares. So what we are going to do here, first let's look at how much was given per share. So for us to find the amount of money given per share, we'll divide the total dividend with the number of shares. So the total dividend is just the 12,600.00, so we can just ignore these zeros after the decimal. Then you divide by 60,000. So from this, okay, this should be 600. Okay, so from this we can first eliminate the two zeros. So we can see that we have 126 over 60. So which number is common? So 6 is common. 6 into 12 is 2. 6 into 60 is 1. So 6 into 126 is 21 over 6 into 60 will give us 10. Now we know that we can divide 10 into 21 is 2. Remember 1. 10 into 1, it can't. We put a decimal. We add a 0. 10 into 10, we have 1. So this means that 2.1 kwacha was given to each share. Now if we know the money that was given to each share, let's look at how many shares that this Miss Magula owned. So Magula owned 200 shares. So multiply 2.1 by 200, then that is the money Magula got as dividend. So 2.1 times 100, we can just get, there are two ways in which we can simplify a question like this one. The first one, let's ignore the point. If we ignore the point, we have 21 times 200. Now whenever you are multiplying a number with the zeros, ignore the zeros, just get the number. So we have a 2. So 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Then we add the two zeros that we ignored, so it's 0, 0. Then after we've done this, we can now go back to the decimal places. So we can see that we only have one decimal place. So the decimal is here, we'll move 1. So the amount Magula got was 420.00, just 420. Another way in which we can write this question is we can get our 2.1 multiplied by 200. So we know that we can just move our decimal to the right one. If we move to this right, we have 21. Then we cancel 1 0. So this now is 21 times 20. So if we ignore this 0, then we have 21 times 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we add the 0. We still get 420. We move on to the last one. The diagram shows triangle ABC in which S is equal to 18 centimeters, angle CAB is equal to 30 degrees, and angle ABC is equal to 90. So this is a right angle triangle since we have an angle equal to 90 degrees. Now the question here is calculate the length of BC. So we have this angle as and this distance here. So we are going to use the 3 trig ratios. So let's look at this. So we have the SOHCAHTOA. Now from these 3 trig ratios, we need to choose the one that we are going to use. Now before we look at the trig ratio, first we need to indicate the distances, the hypotenuse, the adjacent, and the opposite. So the distance opposite across this angle is considered to be the opposite. Then this distance next to angle is the adjacent. Then the longest distance across the 90 degrees or across the box here, this is what we call hypotenuse. Now when choosing the trig ratio, we need to look at the distance that we want. So the distance that we want is BC. So BC is only O. So from the three trig ratios, we want the trig ratio where there is O and H. Why? O is the distance that we are solving, H is what is given. So when choosing, make sure you choose the trig ratio with the distance given and the distance that you are solving. So from this we can see that we cannot choose the tower because the adjacent is not given. We cannot use the car, the adjacent is not given, but the saw can be applied here since the opposite is what we want, the hypotenuse is what we are given. So we'll say sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. Now let's look at sine 30 is our angle. Opposite is what we are looking for, BC over hypotenuse H is 18. So over 1 we cross multiply. So BC times 1 is just BC. Then here we are going to have 18 times the sine 30. So what is sine 30 according to the according to the special angles? Sine 30 is equal to half or 0.5. So BC is equal to 18 times the half, which is BC is equal to 2 here is 1, 2 and 2, 18 is 99 times 1. So our BC is 90 centimeters. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.